Hi everybody, TJ at Wisconsiknight. Today I want to talk about beginning to prep for people who are not preppers. Uh, I know that sounds kind of crazy, but a lot of people don't consider themselves preppers because they've been watching doomsday preppers on TV and all kinds of other things, and those people appear to be nuts, and some of them probably are. But once you start watching that, you realize that there are some areas in your life that could use a little bit of improvement. So we're going to talk a little bit about what would be considered normal things to have with you on a regular basis. Um, you don't need a 72-hour kit bug out bag with you at all times. I realize that sounds counterproductive or counterintuitive to be talking about preps and saying that you don't need to have that stuff at all times. But if you look at it a little bit more realistically, and I'm just going to take this from my own situation, I commute about 10 miles to work every day. So even if I were to break down halfway between home and work, I'm not going to be walking more than 5 miles, and odds are I can get a hold of somebody that can come and pick me up. So having stuff to sleep in the woods overnight and being able to create a fire using a rock and a high carbon steel pocket knife is not a very realistic thing to be prepping for. Okay, but having a cell phone charger for my phone so I can call somebody to come pick me up, that makes a lot of sense. Having a decent pair of shoes that I can walk in, you know, I don't wear dress shoes to work, but a lot of people do. And so having something that you can walk in would be a really good idea. Now, here in Wisconsin, it gets cold, bitter cold. You don't want to be walking 5 or 10 miles when you've got 45-mile-an-hour winds out there with wind chills in the negative 20 to 40 degree range like we've been having for this past month here. This Arctic vortex thing has been destroying us around here. Sometimes 5-10 minutes of exposed skin in that kind of weather can give you frostbite. Okay, we're not preparing for the zombie apocalypse here. We're walking home. So having some hand warmers packed away in your car and, you know, good pair of wool socks will take you a long way. Okay, your feet will get cold before anything else when you're out there trudging through snow. So simple common sense things. We all pretty much have hats and gloves here because we live in Wisconsin and we understand that we need these things here. um, some of you live in places where you don't see the need for that stuff quite so often, and that's when you might want to consider it a little bit more. A couple years ago I was in St. Louis. It hardly ever snows in St. Louis, but I was there when it did, and people are stuck on the side of the road. Nobody knows how to get anywhere in the snow. So having a four-wheel drive truck, I wasn't, and being somebody from Wisconsin, it wasn't a problem for me to get around because I'm used to being in that kind of stuff. So we go to this shopping mall, and we get there, and the entire parking lot is empty except for Cabela's. Okay, the parking lot is full of Cabela's. It's full of pickup trucks. It's people who know how to get around in adverse weather. So there's just a few things to think about there. Um, like I said, I'm never going to be walking more than 5 miles if I break down during a commute between work and home. If I'm 5 miles, if I'm less than 5 miles from home, I'm going to walk home. If I'm more than 5 miles from home, I'm going to head back to the town where I work and stay with a friend or get a night in a hotel. Or worst case scenario, find a place to curl up in a ball and sleep at work. So I've got options that way. So things that people would normally use on an overnight trip are completely logical to have available to you in a bag in your car, or in a bag even at work. Some of the things that just make sense. Like I said earlier, a cell phone charger. I use the kind of cell phone charger that uses the USB plug, and I can plug it into a computer. I have the cigarette lighter plug for my car that has a USB adapter on it, and I've got an AC adapter to plug into the wall that I can plug a USB into. So I only need to have one cord and I can charge my phone 3 different ways. So, you know, these are some things that are really easy to do. You pack that away in a pencil bag like you get at Walmart for $2. You throw that in there with toothbrush, toothpaste. I like to keep about $10 or $15 worth of $1 bills available. There's not a whole lot you can do with $1 bills, and I'm not going the kind of places where people are normally using those. But if you're stuck in a hotel overnight, sometimes that vending machine looks pretty good. So if you got some money, you can, get yourself out a bag of pretzels and a soda. It's something when you have nothing. Of course, I like to keep an MRE in the truck under the seat. If I'm stuck somewhere, it's something to eat. And no, they're not the best thing in the world, but when you're hungry, it'll do. So these are some things that, the average everyday person might want to consider having around. It's not that hard to find some kind of food that all you need to do is open it up and eat it. You don't want to have things that you need to do a lot of cooking and preparation with, because if you're stuck in a hotel, most of them don't have a stove for you. You'd be lucky if you get a microwave. But if there's something you can pop open and eat, then, more power to you. And having, I don't want to say that it's a great idea to drive up your credit. I think people should avoid using credit cards as much as possible, but it doesn't hurt to have one. You want to spend a night in a hotel, you got a credit card, just make sure you pay it off right away so you don't incur any extra charges there. And that credit card's a lifesaver for you. Also comes in handy if you need to get repair work done on your car. You got hotels, you got your repair work on your car, you want to order a pizza or something. Having a credit card available to somebody who doesn't normally use a credit card is a really good idea to have. It takes up no space. You don't have to carry it around. You stick it in your wallet and you forget it until you need it. It's a good idea to have a little bit of cash available to you. Cash is king. Okay, if you're stuck somewhere and you've got a power outage or something's going on like that, and we do get power outages here. We've got winter storms. We've got summer storms that take out power. Normally, we're not out for more than a couple of hours, but you never know. Some people lose power, and it's a week or two before it comes back on. And I would not be surprised to see that at some point in the near future. All of us will experience a power outage at some point in time. So one thing that I like to have with me whenever I'm traveling somewhere is I have a simple little light that plugs into an outlet. Anytime I'm in a hotel, I take this thing with me. You plug it into an outlet. It's got a little LED flashlight in it. The power goes out. If the power gets cut off for any reason, that little LED flashlight comes on. It's not the most powerful flashlight in the world, but in the dark, it's better than nothing. So this is something that only costs you a couple of dollars. It takes up very little room, and it's a really easy thing to have. I always have a flashlight packed away anyways. LED flashlights, you can get them at the dollar store. They're not the best in the world, but like I said, when you've got nothing else, it'll do. So we've already talked about having a little bit of cash and having some food available to you. You have some way to communicate, because we're going to charge up our cell phone with our chargers that we brought with us. They do make battery packs that you can charge your cell phone off of too. I don't have one personally. I'm thinking about getting one because it makes perfect sense to have that available. So we got a way to charge up our phone and communicate with people. And we're just going to think about the kinds of things that you normally have. You're going to have a toothbrush packed away. If you take any prescription medications, like most people do for any number of things, whether it be high blood pressure, like I take a high blood pressure pill. A little bit of personal information there for you, but it's life. I have high blood pressure. I always have, so I've got to have a couple of those available to me. Have your prescriptions packed away. Keep it in an original prescription bottle. I know in the state of Wisconsin, you're required to have your prescription with your prescription medication. I know they sell those little dividers that Grandma and Grandpa at the nursing home use, and all the little Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, all divided out for you. If you're traveling anywhere, you're using one of those prescription medications, so help you if your prescription medication happens to be something narcotic, you need to have that prescription available to you, because if the reason why you're stuck somewhere is you're in an accident, you're being rescued, and the cops going through your car and finds prescription medications in there, it's going to raise some questions. Have those prescriptions available to you. Take a picture of it with your cell phone. Make sure the picture is clear enough that you can read it. If you need to take 2 sides of the bottle so you can get all of the information there, have that prescription available. It's very important. It'll save yourself a lot of headaches. Tylenol PM. If you're like me, I don't like to sleep in a place where I'm not used to being. So, crashing at a hotel or on somebody's couch, take a Tylenol PM. Makes life a lot easier. So none of this is crazy prepping stuff. This is just normal, everyday use items. These are things that are just going to make life a little bit easier on you. Yeah, you can survive the night at a friend's house without them, but you're going to feel a whole lot better when you wake up in the morning if you can brush your teeth, especially if it's your own toothbrush. So those are some things that the normal person can have without being considered some kind of doomsday prepper, end of the world, zombie apocalypse, crazed person. Okay, those things are not happening. The zombies are not going to rise from the dead, but cars break down. It's just the way it is. So those are some things to think about, and I think that's going to be all for now. So keep checking back often, and I'll update as often as we can. Welcome to Wisconsiknight. Peace, love, and bacon.